Welcome back everyone to another Popping Out Through a Lotto video. Today we're going to be looking at a replay review. If you guys want free replay reviews, I do them every Saturday. Make sure you guys hit that link below. Head to the free replay reviews tab. You get them every Saturday. If you are a member of the channel, which Chaos is, I'm sorry Chaos. If you're a member of the channel, you get your VOD reviews during the week. If you would like them on Saturday, you can have them, but you get a special VOD for you during the week if that's what you prefer. Let's go ahead and hop into it. So we're working on our positioning a lot in this game. That is the goal. So we're gonna be seeing how we can play better. Okay, so right off the bat, you notice that we got KO'd by the Punisher. Now, when we play as DP, really any role, whenever you get KO'd, take that as a way to learn something new. Take that as a way to adopt it to your playstyle. We know that they have a hit scan character on their team, but they also have an Iron Man on their team. Everyone else can't really hit you other than magic, so those are the three things that you got to worry about. When you're playing flying characters, you want to make sure that you can tell which characters are going to be a threat to you, so that way you can position around them and play to them. Because they have an Iron Man, you got to be careful about how close you get due to the laser. Aside from that, he can't hit you, or if he can, you know, hitting people with Iron Man in the sky with his regular primary fire is just very difficult. So he's probably going to laser beam you. If you're far enough away, he's not going to worry about it. When it comes to the Punisher, obviously you have to use cover, and then when it comes to magic, you just have to avoid her dash. Once you do that, you're solid. Everything else is pretty easy. So let's go ahead and look at the next fights and see if we can adapt that playstyle of those three to our gameplay. All right, so we are taking cover here, but we're playing with the team. It's not necessarily bad, but you could do the same thing by having a little bit of an off angle. I always talk about off angles with you guys because off angles are super important. You could be doing the same thing here, and then if you catch him slipping, you could just laser him down right here, right? And play cover. Break the barrier, play cover, push this guy off the side. It doesn't necessarily matter what hero you're playing. As DPS, you want to make sure that you're moving characters away, especially poke DPS. That's your main goal. So you could do it by either clearing it out with your body, like going to the spot and clearing it out, or you could do it by laying down your poke, right? Because that's what poke does. Poke does what dive does with just by being safe. So you move people out the way. So if you were to just sit up here towards the top and just shoot down, they're gonna eventually have to move back. Now you could be like, well, Poppin, what happens if the people here are getting pocketed? That is true. Then you're gonna have to figure out another way to make it so that the people that are healing have to heal each other. The cool part about it is that she can't really heal herself. Rocket can heal himself, but she can't. So if she's ever positioned away from the Rocket will have to turn around. Basically, whenever you hurt her, she cuts her own healing down because she's worried about getting KO'd. And Rocket will then focus his fire that way or adjust somehow. Regardless, hitting them would be your best bet if poking the front line isn't helping. So what we would do is we want to clear out these angles. Kind of think of it like a SWAT team. You know, in order for our team to push safely, we got to eliminate the threats. This guy's a threat, so we got to figure out how to get this guy away. You can actually just fly up high without being low like that and shoot in there. If he gets pocketed, you're gonna have to go down there and approach this way, as I said, to push him back. If he doesn't get pocketed, well, good job. You cleared him out. Your team will be able to walk forward. The next person is here. Shoot her so she backs up and proceed to do that. You're clearing out the room. You do this with all poke characters. It's not just Iron Man, but that's just how you could do it with him because he could fly. That's what you're looking for. You're clearing out angles so your team can push. So we did lose that next fight, but we're gonna try to again apply what we noticed before. So if we come up here to the skybox, you have how is the team set up. You have to take note on how the team is set up when you play. You can't just like fire damage at things and have that be the thing. You have this guy, he's a major issue, obviously. They also have an Iron Man, right? So you can ask yourself, really, if I were to dissect this, I honestly would just fly over here slow. I wouldn't jetpack because you're super loud and continue to do that. And I kind of play like an assassin, Iron Man. Iron Man players that are really good can do both. They play poke, but they also know how to go in and get a KO. He is actually a dive poke character. As weird as it might seem, this character can dive. But what you need to do is make sure that you're gonna be safe doing it. So you would be here, you'd be nice and safe. And if you notice that the Punisher is in there, this leaves it so you can 1v1 this guy. You get up on this guy. If you don't want to, you know, jetpack to him, you don't have to. But you can get up on this guy and start lasering him. If you do get shot, you go ahead and come over here real quick, right? There's a health pack down there, but ideally you want to play towards health packs if you can. There's obviously a health pack over there. So That way you don't need your team to heal you. But yeah, or you could just poke out and just pop, bam, bam, bam. Remember, what is it gonna do? It's gonna make it so that this strat can't heal herself. Look what Rocket's positioning. So if you shoot her, she's gonna back up. Rocket is in front of her, which means he has to turn around, which means the people in the front aren't getting healed because he's worried about healing her, and then he might be focused on trying to shoot you. So then that makes it so that it's a 3v1 against you, but it's also a 1v3, or not a 1v3, I'm sorry. It's a 3v5 for your team. I'll say that the other way around because it probably sounded weird. It's a 1v3 for you, but it is a 5v3 for your team. And remember, you do have a health pack, so you don't have to worry about being pocketed. You also have escape routes if Punisher decides to, you know, use a zip line. You have a barrier here so you can fly around and, you know, basically be menacing. How you're playing him right now isn't really menacing. You're playing him just kind of like, I'll spam abilities and I'll move you. But as you start climbing to higher ranks, you got to do way more than that because people will pocket, people will shoot you, people, you know, so you got to be a little bit sneaky. You got to be more of like a dive bomb character. You're not a character that plays like Storm. You are a character that can get in there, and you got to make sure that you position that way to do so. And in order to do that, you got to take back routes and things like that. So let's see how we approach this fight. Okay. Oh, I thought you were gonna go. So you see how you're just sitting here and lasering? That's not what we should be doing. We should be doing more. Because you're basically saying, well, I'll get KOs. But the thing is, if strats are pocketing a character, you're not KOing them unless your entire team focuses the same character. There's not a DPS in this game that can one-shot or can burn down one hero if two strats are focusing heals into them. That would be broken. So you have to think about a way to attack something that's not getting pocketed, or you have to think about a way to draw the healing away from someone, or maybe your teammate will, and then you can laser down that person. You're lasering down magic, but magic will eventually get healed, which means you won't be doing anything. Now you're focusing Iron Man here, but you're in the front line. You could have done this same thing if you just take your time and flank. He is not a character that needs to sit with his team like Storm. I mean, Storm can flank too, don't get me wrong, but obviously she's more susceptible to getting caught. But Iron Man is really fast. It's hard to catch his character, and he has a lot of juice in his fuel tank. So, like that right there is probably the gameplay you're used to. You're used to just sitting there lasering and mowing down teammates. That does not work the higher you climb, okay? There's very rare of a time you could just sit there and laser down a team. There's opportunities, yes, but that's typically not how you're going to be playing. You're usually going to just be using your primary fire to poke. Should someone get close, you start lasering. Once the fight breaks out and it starts rolling, that's when you can take your laser out and just literally move with your team. You don't want to have that be your default play style. So this right here is fine because you're already winning. That Rocket is trolling. I ought to report it. Report it for trolling. Nice. Cool. So that's kind of the gameplay that I was talking about, is you would want to kind of wrap around, go chase, move, things like that. That will help you out tremendously as Iron Man. So one thing I noticed is you rely on your laser a little bit too much. And honestly, I did that too when I first started playing Iron Man. If you don't remember, I was able to play Iron Man on my main account in my main rank. And that is because obviously if I whip him out there, I'm going to be punished way harder than you will. So I had to learn a lot faster. When you hit a wall with Iron Man, you eventually start to learn you're relying on the laser a little bit too much to do the job. And because your laser is short range, kind of, you know, short range, your laser is short range, you're a lot closer to the action, which means you're a lot easier to be punished. That rank will happen eventually. And when they start punishing you for being close, you're gonna have to start relying less on that and using your laser as opportunities rather than to use it all the time. So using it right there is fine, but you see kind of how like you lean into using the laser to try to get the KO. Just start shooting it. The damage isn't that much different. It's kind of similar. I don't know the numbers pound for pound, but it's pretty similar should you land your shots in terms of the time to KO. So instead of using your laser, when things get out of your range, just start firing your shot. Hit it directly onto them. It'll do a lot of damage. And she wasn't moving that much either, so you can stay safe. A lot of the times you get KO'd is because you start lasering and then putting yourself in a really bad position thinking that the laser just does more damage, and it doesn't. It's more consistent if you land the shots. But if they're already in your face like this, using your laser is fine. However, I will say you have this syndrome where it's like, okay, I'll use my laser and I'm just not gonna move. It's either you or me. No. Reposition more. You always get KO'd with your laser. Here, you know she's too close. You know you're getting shot. Reposition. Just dive. Go to the right with the jetpack or whatever, or go to the left. You should always have cover in mind. So honestly, you should just already know there's a wall here to protect you. But go wherever and leave. But you're so focused on trying to like secure when you have your laser out. Don't worry about it. Be safe. Be alive. Because if they do chase you, they're out of position and you can laser them. Think of it like playing... What's a good character? I'm trying to think who you actually play, but you don't really play. How many DPS I could think about? Think of it kind of like Elsa. I know that's a stretch, bro. But think of it kind of like Elsa, where you fight, yeah, but you gotta like bob and weave a lot. That's how real Iron Man players play. He has a lot of fuel for that reason. Bob and weave a lot. Oh, they're on me? Look back, fight them. And then you can chase them once they start running away. Like, he's a very good kite character too. A lot of players don't really play him that way, and that's a mistake. If you ever look at really good Iron Man players, you'll notice they don't just sit there and laser. They don't sit there and spam. They don't just take off angles and spam. Those guys are in there. You know, those guys are like, bro, what's up? They try to kite. They kite this way. They kite that way. They drive in, use the missiles. Like, they do a lot with their kit, but you're only using half of the kit and you're only doing half of the play style. Right? I haven't even seen you use your F key yet. Like, these little things are what make Iron Man. It's not about just your positioning. It's not about just your target priority. It's also about how you play in every situation. Sometimes a dude has to run. Sometimes he gets to chase. Sometimes he gets to just go in and dive the back line. You have to really think outside the box. Once you start playing like that, I promise you, you'll get a lot more out of Iron Man. You'll get a lot more out of him. It was hard for me to think about that, but when I started to play against some of the best Iron Man players on the server, I was like, bro, y'all wild. Y'all do some crazy stuff. And then I started to kind of mimic them. That's what I do when I play against players that are better than me at a character, or they do something really, really funky. I like to look at their replays and be like, what are you doing, bro? And I'll pick up little tidbits here and there, and that's how I improve, and then that's how I can teach you guys and whatnot. I learn from players that are really good. I don't ever think that I'm the best player. I don't ever think that because you're in my match and I beat you, I'm better than you, or you beat me because your team's better. No. If you do something unique, I'm gonna look, because that's a true main type of feel, right? That's a true character main feel. If I don't know what you're doing, I gotta look. That is something that I adopted to my gameplay with Iron Man, and bro, that helped out tremendously. So I highly encourage you to do that. So for your Iron Man, as I said, I want you to use more of his kit. I want you to move around more. I want you to start flanking more. I want you to start thinking about how to dive the team more. Really play your life running around. You're very stationary. You play like Storm. Don't play like that. Play like a character that can move around. Play like Spider-Man. Play like Cap. Play like Thor. Play like all these characters that can move around. Really use this man's fuel. Play like Star-Lord. Play like these characters. Implement that in your Iron Man gameplay. Yeah, he can't do that pound for pound for those characters, but he will surprise you if you start playing like that. I promise you. Get the most out of this man's kit and you will be rewarded. Now, you did ask me to talk about your penny nest placement, so let's see. What do we got? So this placement's kind of bad because it can be taken out pretty easily. You want to try to put it in places that are like weird. So this wall can be broken, but you could put the nest here for now. And should it start breaking, or should they start walking through, take the nest away, or should they come up here, take the nest away? But if you put it a little bit more to the corner, they have to walk out and look down. You know what I mean? Which makes it harder for them to play the game. So that's a spot you can put it. You can also put it right here. Similar reason. They would have to walk out and look down. And it's actually a lot harder for them to shoot because they'd have to come through there, which your team would obviously be watching for. So that's a good spot too. I don't think the spot is bad, but basically when you're putting down your nest, you got to think about how can I stretch the web as far as possible, and how can I prevent it from getting shot from multiple angles. If you think about your nest as a player, if you were to say, hey, go AFK for a second and get your package, or get some food or whatever. If your teammate was AFK, where would you want them to stand? This is how you think about deployables. This is how you think about penny nests. This is how you think about Namor squids. This is how you think about rocket beacon. Where can I put things? If it were a player that were AFK, where can I put you to be the safest? Right? And in a penny's case, you have to think about obviously how much the web can stretch out too. So that's how I go about with my deployables, and that's why I have some strange deployable spots, because that's what I think about. I think about the nest reach, and I also think about where can you stand that if you were an AFK player, you're not gonna get, you know, shot or anything like that. So you could kind of see here how they're just walking around the nest. You never want to have it so that the nest is in a spot where they can just walk around. The problem is having to approach Penny, but if Penny just has the webs on the side like this, and they can just walk past it and the cart can move past it, you're not going to be able to stop them. They just walk right past it. So all in all, I think the gameplay was good. For your Iron Man, again, focus on utilizing this entire dude's kit. I want you to be more of like a fighter pilot rather than what you are right now, where you're trying to be safe and trying to, like you even said in your message description, that you're trying to focus on positioning and off angling, stuff like that. Like, don't think of him like a sniper. Don't think of him like a Hela. Don't think of him like these characters. This fool can dive. This fool can play up close if he wants. He can juke a lot. He can move. Like, really use this man's kit and you will be rewarded. So I want you to try to do it in quick play so you don't lose your games. But try to play around your jetpack. I keep calling it that. I know it's not a jetpack, but like, come on, jet boost. Play around that more often. Juke and dive into off angles more often with that. Look to probably go for a dive bomb. Like, dive to the front to get a little bit of damage off, and if you notice things going bad, dive to the left and leave or something like that. Like, really be annoying. Iron Man can be really annoying if played like that, but also it requires a lot of awareness because you're so loud. You don't just get to leave for free. You're very loud. Angela, that's a good example. Player like Angela, or play him like Angela. Not one for one, but the way that she plays is pretty similar, of like a battle flight character. He is a battle flight character. He is not a Storm. So play him like a battle flight character and you will do justice, I promise you. As far as your Penny placement goes, again, pretty solid. Not really much to say about it other than think about where can you put it if it was an AFK player. And then when you're using your nest, make sure that they have to walk through it to accomplish things. Yeah, you could be off to the side how you were in that game, but should your team fail you and they can just walk straight past your nest, you're good to go. A lot of players try to focus the nest even if it's out the way. That team pretty much did that. But if the team is smart enough to be like, this nest is nowhere near where we have to go, but I'm gonna ignore it. They just ignore you and nothing gets accomplished. So you gotta be careful about that. But thank you guys for watching. I do appreciate it. I hope you learned a lot. If you guys would like your free replay review, again, make sure you check the description, head to the Discord, and then there is a free replay review tab. Pop that bad boy right there, and we will go over your replays on Saturday. If you want to help support the channel, become a member. I appreciate it a lot, and you can get your replay done in a VOD. Till next time, you know what I always say. Thank you guys for doing what? Popping often. Real often.